Hello! I'm just going to take you quickly through the new version of the bare bones Retropie image for the sinden lightgun. So this is version 3. Uh, I've made a few improvements on it and configured some more emulators. So once again, you need to flash this to an SD card, and then the first thing you need to do is to expand the storage on the card. Uh, Somebody on the Discord talked about automating this, so in the future, hopefully, this will be automated. I'm going to ask for a little bit of help and see if anybody can get it going. Another thing you might notice is this Retropie menu here. I've somehow managed to make it go into a much sort of simpler format. I don't know how I've done this. Again, I'm going to ask on the Discord, and we should get it back to normal, I think. So the first thing is to expand the memory. Where are we? Raspberry Pi config. Start that up. It's advanced options. And the number 1 option, expand file system. Just go through that, reboot your Pi, and then you're good to go and add your ROMs and BIOS files. The big difference in this version compared to the last one is that I've forced the resolution of the Raspberry Pi to be 1080p. Before it was automatically detecting it from the TV, and as you can probably see, I've got a cheap Chinese 4K TV, so it was forcing all the images into 4K, which is putting a big strain on performance. So you'll see on this one that performance should be much better. So emulators I've configured. Nintendo, so just the NES. I'll show you should be able to put any NES ROM on this, and it'll load up with the borders and the pre-configured light gun settings, and just give that a go. Oh, it's also really important to go into ports first and start the sinden light gun software. I do this about 100 times a day, so frustrating. Again, I'd look into automating starting that up. So where was I? Nintendo. So hopefully you'll see light gun working. I just get far enough back from the telly, and you can hunt some ducks. But let me show you the other emulators I've configured, because there's some exciting stuff on here. Sega Mega Drive. Again, this is Andy Sinden's hacked version of the Genesis emulator, because the stock version wasn't recognising triggers. So I've set this up for Manisa. The thing you need to know about this one is I've only got it working when I've got a gamepad plugged in. So player 1 is the gamepad, and player 2 is the light gun. You'll just see, if I start something like Terminator 2 here, you get to choose which player is using what. So start player 1, use Manisa. And you should see a fairly terrible port of an awesome arcade game. I've left crosshairs on most of these emulators. You can turn them off in the menu. It was really only just to calibrate things. This game has an in-game cursor as well, so you don't really want both of them running. But there you go, that's Mega Drive for you. Let me get out of that, he says, if I can get out of it. So Master System, pretty much the same. Super Nintendo, I've had some help setting up the controls on that for the Super Scope. And let's have a look at PlayStation. Because when this was forced into 4K, to get something like Time Crisis running smoothly, you'd have to overclock your Raspberry Pi. There's absolutely no need for it now. You can even run it at a high resolution. It runs really smooth. I'm so happy with this. Just calibrate the gun. Yeah, you should see just a a marked improvement in the way it renders everything. Just show you a little bit of gameplay. So yeah, that's PlayStation working really smooth. And then the next big one is Dreamcast. I've only just got this working, so I've not really tested it on anything. Other than House of the Dead 2. You should see... Let's have a look. When it starts up. So I've configured the lightgun controls to have a start button. The start button is left on the D-pad on the lightgun. Just saves you having to use the gamepad. But I'll just show you a little bit of gameplay here because again it's running really smooth. This is a Raspberry Pi 4. It's 4GB model and it's not overclocked at all. This is just stock setup. So this is the bare bones image for the Raspberry Pi 4. The next big step is going to be getting arcade emulators working on it, which shouldn't be far off, hopefully. If you are using the old version, I'd highly recommend upgrading to this. It's just miles ahead. Okay, thank you very much.